everyone present here. We are very glad to have you all with us today to attend our webinar on combating cyber threats with a sound PAM strategy in 2020. I am Abhirami and I'll be your host for the day. The topic for the day is Privileged Access Management, PAM. Our product marketing consultant, Ms. Shweta Shankari, is here to elaborate on the risks of not having a sound PAM program to safeguard your business. She'll also take you through the different stages of the PAM maturity curve and share real-world use cases on how. She'll also share findings from top research and analyst firms on PAM, how it will help combat cyber threats, cybersecurity threats, what type of PAM program will fit into your overall IT infrastructure, and the importance of integrating PAM as a part of identity and access management. Before I hand over the session to Ms. Shweta, I would like to bring to your attention that we'll be having a quick question and answer session at the end of the webinar, where you can ask your doubts to the speaker. In case your doubts are not answered due to lack of time, you can always mail it to us, to which we'll gladly reply. We would also like to receive your valuable feedback. So please do stay back till the end of the session and help us improve. Finally, the presentation will be mailed to you all post the webinar. Now, I'll hand over the session to Ms. Shweta.
Thank you so much, Abhirami. Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon once again to you all. I'm Shweta, and I'm a product marketing consultant here at ManageEngine, and I'll be the presenter for today. So without further ado, let's jump into the agenda. So here is the agenda for today. We'll start off by discussing the basics of privileged access management. That's the core objective. Then discuss why it's crucial to have a PAM strategy in place for your organization. We'll also quickly have a look at some numbers, basically findings from industry experts, mainly to give a perspective of the scenario that we're talking about, and to help you gauge what kind of PAM solutions that you should be adopting for your organization. Then talk about ManageEngine's approach to PAM, the products we offer, that's the ManageEngine PAM suite. And finally, a quick gist on where the world is heading with regards to PAM. So privileged access management, the basics. Just a quick brush up for those of you who aren't already aware of privileged access management before. Privileged access management is a combination of strategies, basically a set of policies that admins can define that helps your organization implement fine-grained controls and access restrictions for privileged assets in your network. By privileged assets, we mean machines and resources that house the privileged accounts. That's the accounts with elevated permissions. For instance, like being able to install or upgrade softwares, modify system or application configurations, etc. So here are a few examples of privileged accounts. The local admin accounts are accounts that have admin privileges that grant complete control of the machines in which they are set up on. The domain admin accounts are one of the most powerful privileged accounts. That is, they can have admin capabilities on all the machines or resources within that particular domain. Next, there are service and application accounts. That is, accounts used by system programs that run application software services or processes. Then the root accounts with admin privileges on Linux or Unix systems. Then finally, break glass accounts. These are accounts possessed by unprivileged users, but with elevated access in cases of emergencies. So the gist is that some of the accounts are used in your in any organization on a day-to-day basis, or during times of emergency or on-demand purposes, and the credentials for these accounts get strewn across your network. The best practices recommend that it's necessary to limit the access as much as possible by providing it to users only when they need it and only for the particular amount of time. This is what a PAM solution helps your organization achieve. Then this is a vital cog in your enterprise IAM. This is a paradigm that attends to enterprise IAM program, that is Identity Access Management Program, but with a different audience and different scopes and different risks are involved. So we'll get to this in the later section of the webinar. Failing to secure your privileged accounts often open up your enterprises into a huge range of security vulnerabilities. So these are some of the problems your organization can potentially face when you're not limiting access to your privileged accounts. So these privileged accounts are still one of the most preferred sweet spot among hackers to establish a foothold within your network. Once they are into a network, they elevate access and move both horizontally and vertically. Then malicious insiders who have privileged credentials are equally as dangerous as external hackers. They can misuse it for their own benefits. Then there is the security risks posed by remote vendors and contractors, and hazardous practices by negligent employees. This is one of the most dangerous consequences of not restricting your privileged access. The activities performed by these employees uh, unintentionally makes your network an attack surface for the hackers. Then there is the risk of being non-compliant with industry regulations such as PCI, ISO, PCI DSS, ISO, HIPAA, etc. This not only incurs a large financial loss for your organization, but also leaves a huge dent in your organization's reputation. We'll see a few numbers proposed by industry experts on that will help you understand why it's essential to have a PAM strategy within your network. Gartner, who are one of the top leading research advisory firms on tech, they have identified PAM as a top security project for the past 2 consecutive years, 2018 as well as 2019. Their 2020 report is actually yet to come. Here are more numbers. Forrester report indicates that 82% of data breaches involve some kind of privilege abuse. Verizon's data breach investigation report points out that 50% of breaches go undetected for months. And a Thales report lists privileged misuse as one of the greatest data security threats. And a recent Ponemon report points out that 49% of businesses still do not have strong user access policies. So where does PAM fit into your overall enterprise IT infrastructure? Like we saw this earlier. Privileged access management is one of the most crucial and functional components of your overall enterprise IAM, identity and access management. This paradigm is proposed by Gartner, which attempts to blend PAM into your IAM program while still keeping their differences apart. The main difference between PAM and IAM here is that the difference in audience involved and scope and risks. Basically, your identity and access management deals with regular users and their accesses. So the scope involved is comparatively small, and risks involved are also minimal. While privileged access management deals with privileged users and access to critical, that is the privileged resources within your network, the scope is comparatively small since the number of privileged users are generally small in an organization, but the risks are large because a lot is at stake when it comes to PAM. So this is a typical PAM maturity curve proposed by, once again, Gartner. This gives a very good perspective on where to begin your PAM journey and how to advance forward. As you can see, the capabilities are grouped into 3 categories: basics, intermediate, and advanced. The basic PAM capabilities include privileged account discovery and vaulting, multi-factor authentication integration, privileged access model, which is nothing but role-based access control, privileged session monitoring and recording. The intermediate capabilities include command elevation and least privilege, app-to-app credential brokering. This is nothing but API provisioning that allows third-party applications to speak to your PAM system. And of course, the help desk integration to handle service requests with regards to PAM, and just-in-time or zero standing privilege model. So this is an area of PAM that is seeing a huge traction these days. This deals with providing just enough access for just the particular amount of time needed to users within the network, and for jump server support. So these are the capabilities that come under the intermediate section. Now, going to advanced section, we have privileged task automation, anomaly detection and privileged activity analytics, privileged session auditing. In the basic stage, we saw session management, so that is session monitoring and recording. So privileged session auditing comprises of capabilities that allow the administrators to audit the privileged sessions in terms of text or videos and then detect anomalies. So this is quite an advanced feature when compared to session monitoring. And then we have CI/CD automation, which is nothing but DevOps support for PAM. There are also a couple of features that are seeing a lot of traction. That is, you have PAM for IoT and privileged access management for robotic process automation. So this is an overview of the PAM capabilities, like how you should start and how you should advance forward. So here we are. This is ManageEngine's privileged access management suite. It comprises of 4 products, each addressing a different group of audience and with different needs to PAM, and for organizations that have different needs to PAM and which are in different maturities in their PAM strategies. So catering to organizations with different PAM maturity has been a main goal for ManageEngine. Password Manager Pro is a privileged account management solution that deals with discovering and onboarding of privileged accounts, role-based access control, secure remote access provisioning, privileged session recording, and an auditing tool. This is suitable for organizations in basic to intermediate levels of their PAM maturity. And then there is Key Manager Plus, which is again a privileged access management product, but it focuses on management of privileged identities other than passwords, such as SSH keys and SSL certificates. Often, when we take into account privileged credentials, passwords are the only thing that comes to our mind, and other identities such as keys and certificates are completely forgotten. So to fill that space, this product to fill that space. And the next is Access Manager Plus. It deals with, it's a dedicated session management solution that deals with providing, privileged sessions, providing privileged session support to remote devices such as data centers in your environment. It also enforces security, automation, and fine-grained controls for these privileged sessions. And it's suitable for organizations with extensive data center deployments. And then there is PAM 360, which is our flagship PAM product. It comprises of capabilities of all the 3 solutions, that is Password Manager Pro, Key Manager Plus, and Access Manager Plus. In addition to that, we also have some advanced PAM capabilities, as we've seen in the privileged access management maturity curve. We'll get to it in a bit. So PAM 360 is most suitable for enterprises which are in their advanced level of PAM maturity. So from the maturity curve, we've already seen what are the PAM capabilities that enterprises should implement. And in the coming slides, we'll see what feature sets that ManageEngine's PAM suite offers. So the privileged identities, these are the keys to your kingdom, the entities that facilitate access to sensitive resources in your network, passwords, SSH keys, and SSL certificates. Your privileged access management solution should provide capabilities for effectively securing and managing all these identities. So these are the core PAM capabilities that ManageEngine's sort of products offer. Privileged access governance that allows administrators to create a set of policies for defining user access to privileged systems. First-in-class remote access that is remote access provisioning to target systems, be it in your data centers or DMZs or other inaccessible regions. Encryption key lifecycle management is nothing but what we saw earlier, the management of identities other than passwords, such as SSH keys and SSL certificates. Privileged session management deals with the managing and monitoring of privileged sessions, and it helps achieve dual control over your privileged access. And there is also a tamper-proof audit mechanism that audits all privileged activities and presents it as comprehensible reports in a central interface, in a central console. There are also reports dedicated to various industry regulations such as IPC, IDSS, ISO, or HIPAA that helps your company pass compliance audits. We'll now see how PAM 360 goes beyond providing conventional PAM capabilities to provide a holistic approach to privileged access security. Some of the advanced PAM capabilities that we saw in the maturity curve, most of them are achieved through integration with our own in-house tools as well as third parties. So here are some of the out-of-the-box integrations. PAM 360 is integrated with a wide range of ticketing systems such as ServiceNow, Jira, and the ManageEngine Service Desk Plus. This is our own in-house help desk tool. To automatically validate service requests with regards to PAM. So this integration ensures that only users with a valid ticket ID can get approval and then access to critical risk assets to perform privileged operations. PAM 360 is also integrated with a wide range of certificate authorities such as DigiCert, Let's Encrypt, GoDaddy, Microsoft CA, and a lot more such as TOT, GeoTrust, Rapid SSL, etc. So that enables lifecycle management of SSL certificates for your web apps. Right from provisioning, deployment, renewal, we offer everything in a single centralized console. And then PAM 360 is also integrated with CI/CD platforms, that is DevOps support, such as Chef, Puppet, Ansible, and Jenkins, to ensure security in your DevOps processes and eliminate hard coding of credentials. And here are some PAM capabilities which are obtained through integration with our own in-house tools. The JIT privileged or JIT privileged system or just-in-time privileged access that we saw earlier in the maturity curve. ManageEngine supports just-in-time privileged access for currently for Windows domain accounts, and this is achieved by integrating with AD Manager Plus, our own AD management tool. This automates a movement of users to across AD security groups, elevates their domain account privileges just for the amount of time needed. And PAM 360 is also integrated with ManageEngine Analytics Plus, which is our own business intelligence platform, to provide analytics on privileged account activity in a very intuitive dashboards that will help you detect anomalies. In addition to it, PAM 360 also facilitates integration with Log 360, our in-house log management tool that captures the endpoint logs when privileged sessions are launched and allows admins to run audits on it and then feed into analytics to again get a complete view of the privileged activities performed in that target system. So we first saw the basics of privileged access management and then some industry numbers and the PAM maturity curve that gave a perspective on how you should advance your PAM journey. And then ManageEngine's PAM suite, an overview of the products in the suite and the capabilities. We'll now see what PAM capabilities that the world is heading towards. So what PAM capabilities that are going to see a lot of traction in the future. PAM on cloud with cloud system and mobile technology are growing. So there is an complete essential need for PAM to be hosted on cloud, PAM to function effectively in cloud. That will be one of the most important capability. And like we saw earlier, privileged access security for DevOps, IoT, and RPA process automation. And holistic PAM for the enterprise. This is an interesting use case. So the expansion of, there is a continuous need for the expansion of PAM beyond tech, such as buildings or facilities, not only limited to privileged accounts within your network, be it Windows systems or Linux system, not just limited to that, but there is a need for PAM to move beyond tech to delve into other areas of business operations, including the non-tech elements also. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and drop it in your GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll be answering it shortly.
Thank you, Shweta, for that insightful session. We'll be having a quick question and answer session. Please shoot your questions in the chat section. So we have our first question already. The question is how to handle privileged access requests needed only on a temporary basis.
Sure, yeah. So the solution for this use case is to have a centralized platform that enables you to incorporate request approve workflow mechanism so that all the temporary access requests are approved by authorized admins in your network. So to ensure a tighter security, the solution should also be, again, capable of delegating access on a time frame basis that we saw earlier. And then the solution should also reset the password in the privileged asset after the operation is performed. That is after the request is closed. So to give you a picture, PAM 360 provides both capabilities, that is the request approve workflow as well as timely or just-in-time access. The just-in-time access is currently supported for Windows domain accounts now, and is provisioned by elevating users across the security groups in the Active Directory. But yeah, of course, we'll be expanding the scope of just-in-time access to a lot more area in the future.
We have our second question. So it's in large enterprises where privileged credentials have already been circulated among thousands of users, how can one reinforce security on privileged access?
Okay, so yeah, fine. So the best practice to address this problem is to discover and consolidate all your privileged credentials initially. When I say privileged account credentials, includes passwords, keys, and certificates in an encrypted centralized inventory. That's an encrypted vault. So the PAM solution acts as the vault here as well. Then schedule a reset of all the privileged credentials so that the old credentials that users hold will become invalid, and then they'll be forced to access the critical systems only through the PAM solution. So there is an administrator here for your PAM solution to oversee and approve all your privileged access requests, and that way there will be a tighter security enforced on all your privileged access requests done henceforth. If there are any more questions, please drop the questions in the GoToWebinar control panel.
Yeah, we have one or two questions also, but anyway, because of lack of time, we'll wind it now, and we'll be answering your questions through mail. So once again, thank you all for joining us in between your busy schedule. We really appreciate it. We'll be mailing you the webinar presentation along with a short feedback survey. Please fill it to access the same and also to help us improve. Thank you all.
Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.